Hi guys, I'm Bobsi, and in this video I'm going to show you how to work with the more advanced types of RPCs in PurrNet. So these advanced types of RPCs are static RPCs, generic RPCs, and awaitable RPCs, also known as returnable RPCs. So first of all, I have this box in the scene that I'm just going to be using to call code from. And I have this advanced RPC script on here, which is just completely empty network behavior inside. So first of all, let's start with the very easy one. Let's just make a server RPC that is a static. So let's just make a public static void my static RPC like this. And then let me just quickly set up an update loop that we can call it from. So I'm just going to say if input.get key down, let's do keycode.x, for example. Then we'll call the RPC. So I'll just make a string with a message and let's debug out the message. Debug.log with the message. I guess this was unnecessary. Either way. So here I'm just going to say a message, and then this is just hello from a static RPC, for example. So you can see now this will call to server RPC. And for good measure, let's also just make it require ownership to false, just so everyone can call it. And now let's try and join, and I'll have both my host and the client join. So now I am on the host, I'm going to join with the client. So, okay. So now I'm the host walking around. You can see if I press X, you can see it says hello from the static RPC. If I'm the client and I press X, you can see it also says hello from the static RPC. This now means that you can very easily call static RPCs from, well, anywhere. Any script could essentially just call advanced RPCs dot my static RPC now, and this would work just fine. Obviously, we just call it like this because we're within the script, but really if I went into the player movement, did the same thing, this would work just fine. Like that. Now on to the next one. Let's make a generic RPC. So I'm going to do server RPC, and I'm going to do require ownership false just for good measure. And let's make a private void, and this will be my generic RPC. And this one could, for example, take in type T with T, which I'll just call data. And let's debug out the data. So let's just say received generic data. And then let's just debug out the type as well, just so we have that immediately. So now let me override this. Let's do X and C. So I'll do my generic RPC. And let's start by sending a string. So I'm just going to say hello world. And let's also just do an input for C, which is the key right next to it. And let's send something else. Let's send, I don't know, let's send 420, like that, right? And now I'm going to go in here and I'm going to try and call this from both as well. And mind you, this could also be observers RPCs or target RPCs. That would work fine. I'm just using server RPCs because that's the client that you're looking at right here. So now if I'm walking around, right now I'm on the server or the host, I'll just press X. You can see it says receive generic data, hello world, and it was type system.string. And if I press C, you can see it sent the generic data of 420, which is an int32. And I can do the same thing from over here from the client. You can see hello world, and I can send 420 system int32. So it's as easy as that to just send generics. It's really how you would work with generics anyway in C#. So I think this is very beautiful. And now let's move on to the last one, which is the returnable. This one's a little bit more interesting, I think. So let's do require ownership false again. And let's do a private task and then the type that we want to return. And also, in order to use the task namespace, you need to be using system threading tasks. Now let's just return, let's say, what do we return? We return a bool. And then let's just do, this is my generic RPC? No, not generic. This is my awaitable RPC. Now, in order for it to actually be awaitable, we can also make it async. I think async in general makes it easier. You don't have to. You can make a task, and then when you return, all you have to do is you just return task dot from result, and then you give it the result. Here in this case, it would be true or false. But if you do it async, I think it just makes it very much easier because you just return it how you would normally, like this, with just a normal return statement. And then of course you can also wait in here if you want to do that. So for example, we could just do await task.delay, and we could do 1000 milliseconds, which would have you wait for 1 full second, and then it'll return false. We could do this. We could also just quickly take some input. Let's just have this be int my input. And then let's return whether the input is, so we return if the my input is greater than 0. So, which means if we give it 0, it'll return false. And if we give it anything over 0, it'll return 1. So now let's go test this up here. Now, what we want to do is we want to make our update async as well, because it needs to be able to wait for this code to return. So what I'll do is I'll just do a, let's take our result. So let's just do bool my result equals 2, and now we need to await for the data to return. So it'll be my awaitable RPC, and then we can feed it exactly whatever data we want in here. So let me just again go back to using input, if get key down, key code.x, like this. Then we will run this code. And we can actually, let's do bool my result here. Whoops, and let's just keep that default like this. And then if we hit X, it'll do this with, let's do 1. And then if we hit C, it'll do it with 0, which means C will be false, 1 should be true. And then let's just debug.log out my results. Like this. And let's just default it to false. There we go. So now you can see what we'll essentially do is we'll pretty much ask the server to confirm whether our input is greater than 0 or not. And it'll return it after 1 second. So let's try and do this. So let me start this. Oh, and of course we're logging it all the time. So I guess let's only debug it in here just to avoid spam. So I'm just starting it on the server, starting it on the client. So you can see on the server now, I can hit X, it'll wait, and there you go. Now you can see it returned my result true. If I hit C, and there we go, it returned my result false. And if on the client, I now hit X, you can see it returned my result true, and C, it'll return my result false. And there we go. It's really that easy to work with the advanced RPCs of PurrNet. However, there's more. You can actually combine all these RPCs to do a lot more. So let's make a server RPC once again, and let's do public static void async task. I gotta remember a bunch of things to do now. Is it async before? I never remember. Either way, let's just do a task, and this will return a bool. And then it'll do my mixed RPC. That will also take in a generic type of type data. There we go. And you can see this little Frankenstein's concoction here should also work. So now let's test this. So let's check the types. So let's, for example, return. Actually, now I'm interested in where I make it async. Oh, it is here I make it async. Okay, yeah. So now it's async. So now we can just return it as normal. And then let's take if the data is of type system.int32, for example. So if the data we send is int32, then it'll return true. So let's try and do that. So let me do my mixed RPC here and here. And then let's just do 420 in one of them. And let's do hello, a string. There goes. Now we'll get debugged out true false. And also let's just do a debug.log server received data type of. There we go. So let's do the same thing. So now what it'll do is when we send the data of 420, which should be an int32, then it'll get the result of true. And if we send the string, which says hello, I'm a string, we should get the result of false. So now let's try this Franken concussion. So first I'm going to send the string, and you can see it said server received data, hello, I'm a string, which makes the result false. And the client can do the same thing. So if I just hit X, you can see it got back the result of false, and you can see that the server got to check the string. Now if I clear this, I'll try with C instead. So there we go. You can see now it sent the system int32, and that also made it return true. And if the other client here sends it with the C32, he also gets my result back of true. And this is very instant because obviously we didn't make it await for anything. So yeah, this is really how you work with them, and you can really mix and match as you want, which really makes this very generic and hopefully very good for building modular tools. So really hoping that you can create some awesome scalable things and awesome tools with this. I really hope this was useful to you. Feel free to leave a like, comment and subscribe. It really does help a lot. And I just hope that you have a wonderful day.